Thank you, Professor Schwab, for your warm welcome. I'd like to take a moment just off the top to recognize a founder of the World Economic Forum and a great Canadian, Maurice Strong.
With all the evidence that we've amassed in our preparations for the Stockholm Conference, including the views of many of the world's leading scientists, I am convinced that the prophets of doom have got to be taken seriously. In other words, doomsday is a possibility. I'm equally convinced that doomsday is not inevitable. It has become apparent that today man's own activities have reached the scale where they are the principal determinants of his own future. For example, we are now today effecting more changes in the composition of the atmosphere, in the composition of the waters of the world, in even the composition of certain elements in our food chain. We're making more of these changes in one generation that have been made in millions of years of human evolution. We don't know exactly what will be the ultimate impact of these changes, but we do know that many of them are irreversible and many of them could be decisive in their effects on man's future.
Because you cannot deal with the global issues only by decisions at the global level. The real action is at the local level. That is where the most decisions are made which affect the environment and the future of life. So you cannot just take the decisions at the level of the central governments. Of course, they set the policies. They also establish the incentives, and they have to be there. But there has to be an interaction between the local authorities and the global, I should say the national authorities at the global level. There is a system from the global to the national to the local, and the local is at the foundation of that system. Well, climate change is the biggest single challenge that humans have ever faced, because unlike other problems which can be solved regionally or sectorally, climate change affects the very future of life on Earth. We have to remember that life as we know it on Earth has only existed for a very small portion of the Earth's history, and within very narrow parameters. And we are changing those parameters. So life is actually in danger.
Maurice was a friend and mentor to many of us. He was also a true leader and trailblazer for the environment. Indeed, Maurice's work gave birth to a brand new era of international environmental diplomacy and governance at the 1972 Stockholm Conference, which saw the birth of the United Nations Environment Programme. It was the first UN agency to be headquartered in a developing country, and it was Maurice who built up UNEP from the ground with its headquarters in Nairobi on what was then a very simple coffee farm on the outskirts of the capital city of Kenya. Maurice convened the first ever international expert group meeting on climate change, a clear demonstration of how he was way ahead of the curve. He shepherded in a range of vital global environmental governance processes from the original Rio Earth Summit, Agenda 21 and the Rio Declaration to the launch of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change and the Convention on Biological Diversity. Crucially, Maurice ensured the full participation of developing countries in these processes that included listening closely to those who were feeling marginalized, as well as indigenous people and those who were the poor in the world. He was also a champion of nature-based solutions. He always saw the human species as part of the greater natural whole. He always identified the incredible capacity of nature to provide answers that even the most sophisticated technology and science still cannot match to this day. Maurice will be forever remembered for placing the environment on top of the international agenda at the heart of development, with people and the planet being an integral part of that agenda. His courage, his entrepreneurship, his brilliance will continue to inspire me personally, and I know many generations to come. It is on his legacy that many of us are building today, with the hope that we can address the great challenges of the 21st century with the pioneering work that he was so much part of. To all of you and to all of us, thank you for being part of this continuing effort. It is also very welcome to see that leaders of the travel and tourism industry are getting behind the SunX initiative and are committing to climate-friendly travel, helping us to meet our climate goals. This is a step that I believe Maurice Strong would have welcomed.